be face you and you be face you now to score no someone said my bet general manager at the odds by for to score no Arsenal the no na say when you correct Arsenal the no
and no me players to score no Gorasi and he had opportunity to do but sad than normal because sad passing by no Algeria in list if you look at the penalty record it means that coming into the season he was a player that they believed say and could be a penalty shooter until Enra when me who sa instance actually coach ye pe go ama striker and she go be a last season or G go king or Champions League and ye pe obi when she go I see passing by who is the defender should go and play
penalty no so you obi onimbo
yes. So I had to go and check. I wasn't familiar with Bayern shooter, so I had to go and check that wherever he has played, especially the last team at Mönchengladbach, he was the penalty scorer and penalty taker.
Yeah.
And he's one of the players. Listo, they have 100% penalty. Conversion rate.
Okay.
Out of 11, was 11 in now.
Okay.
And last season, Gurasi said a lot of penalties. And I had to check Gurasi. You see, Gurasi by Tottenham, Dortmund. Or about 12 penalties. And now, was saying 3.
Oh, okay.
And 2 of them now were goals. Now you close for them. Say, now come back. Say 2 of the penalties now. Asheno. The Brenabus abokipa. Now Ashen. So indirectly, they knew say the penalty taker who is Basimbaini. Now Belly Obeshe Amaya Kofotua. You have to let the player play. So overall, 28 penalties are Branton Abo in the career. Or no, Segu Gurasu was say emu 6. So he's not that bad of a penalty taker.
But at that crucial time, somebody
they believe that Basimba is watching Nico Kovac. He was insisting by Simon Koya, Gurasi has one for man. Coaching Sanso friend say, Rami, go and take. And Okoye Nache say, Gurasi Bufu or the man. And definitely he also scored the penalty. So but no, I think it's a player to score a fire.
But on your chances to score.
Yes.
Yes. Just say or to ball nankeshe. To or the to ball nankeshe. So no any bet who come on and start ni ebe room. The Blues. We say no me share atarewe. Me koye na me kosi ye. Na ma sa ahye de aba because
and ejina go prama ejina kono
any Bayern Munich goes be flows again no we say do me ka say Madrid game no cost rubber from over 2.5 sa game no cost rubber from over 2.5 and the Chelsea ni Bayern match no goes be bamu no over 4.5 straight 5 goals e ben him na me catch you ti bomodia na pay attention say you be rare games in na ndra tactically you be room na fe ya hye eye ndra games na eno so eye the ekọ so no you be room tactics a ekọ ye the Juventus game it was an interesting and exciting encounter. First half 0-0, very lethargic first half, but in the second half it was electrifying. Benfica Bruno Lage sa coach you Medina Chiache Bruno Lage wa coach Wolves da ono eno kofa Botafogo anu leading league table 13 points in the second round omo betiji omo say olusu point ni nyina ma league no ebo the following season ansana Botafogo for nefa new coach age Brazilian league no Butler pa ono se na last season obefa Benfica just say omu Lydia na basa abeti ashom it was not here or bottle games rough Andra was she two try homa Karabakh ebetition 3-2 ewo Stadio de Luz chenemi no ka say there news just likely say Jose Mourinho ever returning to Benfica for the first time in 25 good years. A hot one started any coaching career or be returning. Now I call This answer Jose unattached into likely say Benfica. Sir, would Joseph be able to find a permanent home? No one can say, oh, now I've been moving around, my movie across Europe now that I've returned home. Home now, I'm returning. I'm going to do well. Send the next club of an elite club because from fee Chelsea ko Inter Milan, fee Inter Milan, I call Real Madrid back to Chelsea to Man United and a fee coaching we know a scene trust and they will call Roma, yes, or GBB or Roma, but call Italy at a time now all corner a Juvenile Inter. Any Napoli when I will say do it Roma and Koye no Kofana sa and a Fenerbahce so who call as it say na Galatasaray na say Babefao or Galatasaray and then German as watch do Fenerbahce will be a big club there but in terms of financial muscle na Galatasaray no way or call Fenerbahce nyama anche dan the Ankoye and they will move ya akofie also to mean stability or fear na the next club ever no yet is a club I be a Real Madrid do share Alonso do church ya here na che so ma ba be fa na so wasa be rebuilding the amomo na bibia so etumi akoye ti that is the news a free Benfica aswe ye be ra games nim proper na ya chiro de koye ne de ankoye Arsenal e win 2-0 sorry 2-0 how the tactical switch near the idea e course so e wo game nim na very very interesting e ho no and the games in baso and the games here the air baso challenge show no live show no live o call YouTuber MYBET.AFRICA TV MYBET.AFRICA TV and your Facebook no koya ya boy sports arena for your page na sabo sports arena for your page na sabo enti your page na side then asaba to join here Facebook join here Facebook MYBET no what in temu now the Africa night then atwa so na watch say watch show no do an watch share na bibia so no enye dem enkoye show no so no live biem wo street is watching ni nyina to Facebook street is watching Facebook na ABN Radio 1 ni nyina Facebook maka YouTube dia no share no so say o come and bet retail shops ni nyina ya biem omo dia toso baga ya obeti enka say ye analyze games no ye kire ya adwene na wo so wo hu de ekọ ne de ba na atumi guide o ama wotumi ade wotumi abomode a na wa select correct score na wo so wotumi ade wotumi awini bet and na bibia so na atumi ade akoyi and the biggest game no obviously be Bayern Munich against Chelsea Bayern Munich against Chelsea nya asem keto akra enti ma mini kan find results ne mro omo ntumi ehu the results se na ekọ ne de ba no Tottenham Hotspur eche Villarreal shane kabako wantumi ante Real Madrid eshe mienu ema Man City mu baako Juventus eshe 9 ema Dortmund eshe 9 Karabakh ekochi Benfica ebo no 3-2 Royal Union Saint Galois eshe miensa ema PSV Eindhoven etimu baako ena Arsenal the Gunners enso ekochi Bilbao Atletico eshe omo eka mienu a omo antumi ansimu age e wo ho no ene match ni say netie Olympiacos Peru enso transfie obetna Georgios Kariskakis Stadium Paris Kariskakis Stadium Paris na oni boboku a ye frɛ no Pafos almost so every Cyprus and any omo ebebo ene na bibia nso no atumi akoyi boboku e frɛ no Slavia Prague almost your makan Fortuna Arena Prague omo ne Bodo Glimt ene de bebo ani ebo 4:45 Ajax Amsterdam betna Johan Cruyff Arena na on Inter Milan etumi e de aboani ewo Allianz Arena 75,000 seater capacity Bayern Munich and Chelsea e de aboani Liverpool and Atletico Madrid ewo Anfield PSG, the defending champions, ever started almost campaign, no, hosting a year Atlanta, a year Bergamo, a year Parc des Princes. These are the games that ever them ever so. Listen, the young share Endra games, no.
Okay.
Young share Endra games, no. Young review Endra games, no nothing. We are na yemra measure the echo any the eba.
Yes, my main charity for ne ashefo yina na me mama kwaba Champions League ne back eba say ana the behind my bets not just say yeah di juma and no we had a lot of good games our Champions League, a lot of surprises as well. And if you look at some of the games at your prediction, and I think that the only team that's or MYBET was PSV, and it was something that I mean most of us didn't expect. But then Royal Union and Gilo for no, and now the analysis I mentioned say they are one of the new sides who won the Champions League for the first time. And teams who are won or more Champions League for the first time, feel say they want to achieve something, they want to make history.
Okay.
Them playing the competition for the first time is one way or the other a history at the moment. And then again, if you look at how they are trying to maneuver or move ways and bring results, now, if you go into the game, I think that PSV started the game on a very good note. Peter Bosch, Branton, I mean, I won't say they are more underrated Royal Union St. Gallen for, but St. Gallen for no, they were aggressive in their pressing. They were aggressive on and off the ball, and they are there. A ball moment me pick case wins. It was very good to say they got the early lead when Omunya that early goal, no penalty nearby, and David Promise, who has been the first player to score a goal in this year Champions League. After that, almost set it off behind. If you look at even the first half performance, they PSV for no a dominated game, but 110 PSV for say Royal Union and Galo for say they were trying to break PSV team, and was on the 39th minute they had another goal before first half. Now straight into the second half, they came inside the second half. PSV were also dominating. Coach, almost by 4 changes. The Marion Bodumo and a lot of players for them to be attacking. So attack, and then again in the 81st minute, Branton de McAllister, McAllister no Liverpool Ninyano. And also another goal for them in the 81st minute. Then Van Bommel came in and then Obenya, I mean a consolation goal be. And so at the moment, so to me I think that Royal Union and Galliford they did very well. PSV for them now and Shadanya there. I mean, normal one say on bets now hand over normal because I'm proud to this game. Almost last league home game on boy. Almost na fie Emma Telstar Emma be show mo.
Okay.
So yes, I mean in fact they almost a team they are time so normally if they will lose at home, normal almost be 15 games. Na Ayas and then Arsenal penalty match more in that regard. So looking at sad games since it was very obvious say. They have a very good home record, and also at the moment. One thing I can say, Royal Union and Galliford. It is one thing I expect to Champions League. Say definitely one of these teams a bit police surprise. And the teams never born. One of them a bit answer police surprise. So I wasn't surprised. Obi to say Benfica and the Karabakh FK. Another game people also didn't expect say and come to me Ashe Benfica. And in fact. And I say after that game, Benfica see Bruno Lage, who is the coach, permanent for then report attention. So money Jose Mourinho, I will be Mourinho, as so Abba accept say Obesan Kwakuye Jom. Now easy list to the area say Bruno Lage or share Mourinho or avoiding Mourinho from preventing Mourinho from qualifying for Fenerbahce to the Champions League this season. And it's our coach or the Benfica share Fenerbahce. And the permanent is here for Mourinho.
And then on we share 2 games on football now sometimes difficult.
Okay.
Both matches na I was safe in Fenerbahce also moving this game. And even when they went to a Stade de Luz, they had all the chances to score. All the chances to score to beat.
Yeah.
So perhaps and Benifona who say
they won that
didn't
game.
even deserve to call because in terms of coaching, any how Mourinho is setting the team up, they deserve to qualify ahead of them. But then on football, they are a move, and so they were able to see him in close shots. Seeing it's okay, so this is how they played. Sometimes team, but you appreciate say, you didn't deserve to win ahead this particular guy. I think that is what happened. And now you are thinking say Jose Dino, ni Dino intino, ni Dino mo do. And I say almost share no who send the money was something no more fun.
You see, if you look at Benfica for now, you see when you say Nyamiad mo October 25th, and number voting at Chusu or club presidents. Now, report Jeffrey Spain and said some of them believe that Rui Costa, or Pesanso, are standing to be the president.
Yeah.
Is bringing Jose Mourinho to win the votes.
Yeah.
And then Rui Costa, as I say, appointing Jose Mourinho in the Wakano. It's not about the name factor. It's not even about the elections. And you see, opinion Rui Costa, and then the Babe pre Abano. Also, one say report by Zena Benfica campaign for Bimo. Last weekend, United game on boy, Old Trafford. No.
Yeah.
Or no, almost making sure say they want to pick Ruben Amorim. Opinion the added Joao Noronha loops. Or ni Rui Costa. They will standing for election.
Okay.
Into also added Ruben Amorim din. So they believe that coach opinion maker say appointing Mourinho is not about say elections and I say for campaign purposes. But then again, they believe that with the kind of players they have and the pedigree of the club, because in recent times, Sporting and Potonaje, the Premier League and the so Benfica have been always second place team. So they believe that if they have that character in the dressing room, it can also affect them. And you see, whether you like it or not, I'm not focusing on Mourinho and the tactics, but if you have Mourinho as your coach, definitely you will always get closer to a silverware, and that is what currently the Benfica team in here. So after getting that 2-goal lead against Karabakh for no, Akwa say they had this psyche, they had this motive say, Odafuma unsurashi. So whether the fact that they were down by 2 goals, people are more early payout in the day, because who call early payout by the time Benfica share 2 goals no, my bet I take it that. But then a moment call early player. That is the reason why we always, if man, I say, chat straight winner, obvious, good so we call early payout. Because normally the odds between early payouts, and 2, most my money, either 1 or 2, and rule 2, say 1.45, early payout to be 1.43 or 1.44. So it is advisable. So Utia, let early payout be your best selection whenever a person will go straight to win. It should be your best thing whenever you want to go straight to win. But then again, Karabakh for no, and I was happy to say Ghanaian international man like there no, ebenya be boy. In fact, somebody also picking the passes in there. So Karabakh for Listo, they came and also surprised people. Also, they've been one of the themes that they've been up there in the European front and Yemen and so it's then again, I'll look into Arsenal and Atletico Bilbao game no. You see. Oko Bilbao now, you can't care a lot about the basket community in your teams tomorrow. They don't take players are only a background from the basket community. That is Atletico Bilbao. Probably Real Sociedad more or more unlimited or more police sneaker crap. But Bilbao from Listo, whether you like it or not, in fact, they were not even having a lot of black players. Recently, so more community no, I were the north side of Spain. Or players in and Arsenal went into that game. It was some mess with 5 players. They know that community. Kepa Arrizabalaga, or a basketball, he came through the Athletic Bilbao Academy and suddenly over Chelsea. Ubetimi akasa about bit say Mikel Merino any Abranton Zubimendi. They are basketballs, but from the other side, that is Real Sociedad. They also have coach Nidia Ateta, who's also a basketball from Real Sociedad. So indirectly, they had players Omoko Basketball, Atletico Bilbao for whom these are enemies, although they are from our community. We cherish them but then they are from the other side. Rivalries, they know how fierce the game would have been. In the Arsenal team in Listo, they knocked almost tried to make creative chances. The game was fierce. Bilbao for them were high up. 1v1 marking and they were aggressive off the ball and even with the ball. And then again, there's a reason why this season, when I was doing my prediction, my predictor said, Osha Mikel Arteta 5 seasons with Arsenal, all starting up the team very well defensively. Then again, about goal scoring, how to win games. You can score goals, but if you can't defend the goals, definitely you are going to lose your games. So Adibakwa Arteta by Obeye or Arsenal ye pano was one getting the team to defend very well. So watch Arsenal. Arsenal one of the teams I know more because they defend very well. And in previous seasons, both Saliba Pra, then almost season Akwakwe Bibi Oho, once Thomas Partey Pra, they don't have anybody who be replacing it very well. Because like a Pranes as said, but this season there's a reason why we've applauded Arsenal, especially in the transfer market. The kind of players they brought into their system. Now they don't have Bukayo Saka, but yesterday, if you want somebody who was dangerous on the pitch, it was Noni Madueke. And anytime Yamani Kanka said, the only thing I mean when Chelsea scouting Noni Madueke from PSV, about Chelsea, maybe share Brandon videos, we share the scouting report in terms of 1v1 entry into the box. He's one of the best. Adi Aka Noni Madueke also to me establish it. At that elite level, at that player who one of the wingers are more dangerous. I don't make a hono. Abraham the delivery. I've been talking about Abraham say Lamine Yamal. He can dribble, he can do everything. But yeah, Lamine Yamal, he has been up there. He has been the talk as one of the best wingers in the past 2 seasons. Europe, no. The final decision, whether or pass it, whether he knows when to pass, he knows when to shoot, and when to dribble, and also lay the ball. So, and Noni Madueke, he was holding the weight. Obie game anymore, and a lot of take-ons. Akaka is always the final decision, and then always far. And one thing about Arsenal is that they have a lot of players, a lot of squad depth with different attributes. So, Washe Martinelli, he's a player that touching line very well. And now there was a lot of several instances. Anytime the ability is a nyabo no boy quick 1 to 0% uncle, the half space is now Ebeko as that inside number 10. But you look at Enzo Maresca, always opposite the number the wingers and touching line. So Eberiche is at Arsenal. He's a player that loves to play a quick 1-2, right into the middle space. But Arsenal, there were a lot of times people say Mikel Arteta friend say because that half space Abraham Eddie Calafiori to offer that. But anytime Eberiche is he will be tactically indisciplined anymore. Yes, Calafiori so cover that space or Eddie man. It's when Martinelli he decided say there were a lot of space. In fact, on the post-match interview, also catch a players on to bench some game no more gone. See, your striker be a bit more breaking lines, and we have a player with a lot of pace. A bit more breaking lines, Eddie Akoha, it will be very difficult for them. And in fact, pass Leandro Trossard, wasn't one of the best. If you watch the goal very well, movement about not told anymore he didn't get the kind of pace and the kind of direction of Sanka. And then again, Born in San Bertonechi, and he was able to use the 9 as also he born between him. And in fact, Obiani Martinelli about this situation, dead ball situation, young running behind defenders, and quite a 1v1 situation is very good. Last season against Madrid, who don't share Madrid, Courtois, on the free bench by same thing. And on the Babaye. So Mikel Arteta really game very well, and the kind of players or the Trossard and Martinelli, who are players are very old players. And the new players are hitting the ground run, and nature say now Arsenal squad depth. If the new players are not able to do it with their attributes, we have other players they also have different qualities to make their head to team. So look at Gabriel Mosquera. Now Arsenal defenders, think Gabriel Saliba. Mosquera can pass, he can defend, he is fast, and he's tall. In their midfield, although they are lacking a lot of defensive stability and capacity. But then, in terms of build up, in terms of passing, in terms of progressing the ball, Zubimendi has been one of the best. And in so to me, I think say Arsenal for the list to be very honest, how they are playing with their squad depth and how they find ways and means to win games. If team person winning trophies you see how they play. There are games that you go in very, very difficult, but how you maneuver your ways to win that game tells how unique our team is. Liverpool they be a man for ball mabaso. This is Liverpool list. They have scored last 10 minutes goals than any other team. Look at how they won against Newcastle. Look at how they won against Burnley. Time referee Nyambo Abenima, they know that they have the quality players, and at any given time or meeting they are winning game. So Enra Bilbao for them, they have a very good coach, Ernesto Valverde. They have a very good team. A very good, but to me, they couldn't stop Arsenal, and Arsenal for the last season, I must start to continue more formal last season. No, almost a I spoke about Tottenham and the Villarreal game. No, it is one game I make. I said maybe Marcelino. No, people ain't sure him. No, he's a coach that was coaching Marcelo. And if you look at Villarreal team now, they have a very good team in terms of midfield. Every department, almost two players. The predicted lineup and no the ball shows is the same thing. By Guy and Comenasana, boy, Pepe, Perez, Mikataudi, and any other party Mubamu in the second half. And no, Tottenham game no, a lot of home supporters no. There's a lot of difference between Ange Postecoglou, Tottenham Hotspur, and then Thomas Frank there. And there is a various team the Tottenham for or more post or more coach in the two Sunamamia. It tells you a lot. Postecoglou list or no Bakacho say for you to be able to win games, we have to outscore your opponents. Sometimes you can defend very well, but opponents when you penalty not their share. But if you outscore your opponent, definitely you win games. And we have coaches who they believe that the best way to win games is to defend, because indirectly, I'm not losing the game. Yeah. So I will avoid you, so won't mean Shami. But at the end of the day, I also find ways and means that make him that show. If I defend very well more than you are, so coach be an idea. You can defend very well and have your win. Your coach go her own defending very well, but you obey our score the opponent. It's what's your Postecoglou? Obey winning both a 4-2, 5-3. But at the end of the day, no Ashe goes. But Thomas Frank, listen, he's not that type of coach. You see, 5 games on my ball. Oma keep 4 clean sheets. The only game they failed to keep a clean sheet is a game of Moluso in the Premier League. Into Thomas Frank, they are happy. He is happy. Say we're keeping 4 clean sheets out of 5 games. We're born in this season, and we're winning 4 games. It means that Thomas Frank, you cannot even bypass him to score. But he believed that Mohamed Kudus, Bergvall, Richarlison, Xavi Simons, or whoever players are starting up front, they should try and help the team. Say defenders avoid the goals. You these people more than some of my goals. Some of my bakumenu, na ehwe na say intimate be man. You will try and defend. Nti eno one Bergvall ball no boy na Villarreal goalkeeper Luis Junior ochi na mistake ekoye on goal. It tells you that they kept on say let's defend our goal. You go home. This is the league phase. If you are able to nya 1 point, we might be lucky to be part of that 8-team to win automatic qualification. Last season, a lot of teams are in the group league phase. They have to go and play playoffs. So it is very good to say Tottenham Hotspur returned to the Champions League. They won against Villarreal, and the most important thing say Omenya now they will come in again to do whatever they have to do. So Tottenham fans they will see a lot of difference in approach our coach Ange Postecoglou bebo ni game ni how Thomas Frank, but Thomas Frank they no say yen win game no yen keep it clean sheet, and that is the most important thing about team no. Then again Juventus and the Dortmund game no. Listen, I remember this game that I mentioned say I'm expecting to see a lot of goals like the Mihun against Inter Milan and Juventus game no. Kenan Yildiz to score, and in fact he was the first player to score. And you see, always I have been talking about the mentality of players. Obia is different. Some players will take rejection, some players maybe take rejection like betrayal. But listen to Vlahovic, since Oba Juventus, Have you checked the number of strikers? Juventus for them about so much competition, and he's giving me that Drogba vibes. You know? When Drogba came to Chelsea, anytime you can say Drogba at Chelsea, he didn't score 20 plus goals in 3 seasons. Always be at seasons or 20 plus goals, no, or Jigokin. But there were seasons that when I was supporting Chelsea at a very young age, I told me Chelsea fans say, "But him foot Drogba, hey, no, it's selfish." So look at he played with Crespo, Oni Aneka boy, Fernando Torres, a lot of strikers, but yes, still when you needed him most, especially in finals, that was when DJ Drogba Obaye. So Rebecca was currently Haaland, same goals or more goals than DJ Drogba in the Premier League history. But people wouldn't understand that legendary status, no, in finals when you needed him most, no. Then on Shakobe create chance at the man ni opponent ashe. Vlahovic, Kolomuani aba, Moisaki aba, and the Lois Openda aba, the Jonathan David aba. But he took Vlahovic to come from the bench to come and score 2 goals and also assist for them to secure that victory. Last minute penalty Omunya and you see Dortmund for them. I mentioned say if you are comparing these 2 teams, Dortmund have been consistent, especially in the Champions League. The last 5 Champions League finals, Omako final. Juventus last 5 seasons. This is the second time Omubo the UEFA Champions League. So in terms of improving currently experience and the pedigree in the Champions League, Dortmund was ahead of them, and Dortmund is a free scoring side. They are a team that if you see them playing against the big clubs, they don't defend. They go all out. Ultimation and fun. So they use that outscore your opponent's approach. And Eagle Tudor team way, a very young team, also a team. Defensively, almost some weakness, and on Inter. Any Dortmund for any first time they share 4 goals. But one thing is you cannot stop this young Eagle Tudor team from not scoring. That is one thing, especially this season. Almost Eddie Akamo game home, and I was very happy. Say they also won. Almost draws our game now. They gave us something special too. Whatever happened in Derby, the Italia over the weekend. Madrid 4, Eshe 2-1.
Okay.
And if I refer to for any Ubiabekaya and Ra, and Beka said this game is going to be a very good game. I think say I want to see how Alonso will approach the game against coach and the Roberto De Zerbi. We are then Obebe from the back. You saw how Omugo keeper no mistakes, no ball but yes still they were building from the back. He doesn't care say, if he has to build from the back. That's any players 18 but he doesn't care. And then I was so much impressed with Jeffrey Kondobia, Hojbjerg, and Brantony O'Reilly. They did very well. They almost me a breaky Madrid pressing so many times, and no Madrid team were so much aggressive in the pressing. So Anyama said no, or started Rodrigo, who was pressing very well, Kylian Mbappe, and Franco Mastantuono almost a lot of chances. And they in the at least Madrid team eba be a Kylian Mbappe team. And I'm sure say Madrid has shared just 8 goals in the La Liga this season. And Kylian Mbappe has shown 50% of their goals. Asanswa assisted 2. So, out of the 8 goals Madrid has in the La Liga this season, Kylian Mbappe won 80%. And then at least the 2 goals na Madrid share no from Kylian Mbappe from the sport. And then Mikacho said this is Real Madrid in the Champions League, and they are playing at Bernabeu. At this moment like this, you will need players when you want to win games. Whether how beautiful, how ugly it is, Real Madrid will have a way to score and to win their games. And yesterday they did that. So if you look at Madrid team now, and Kylian Mbappe actually 2 goals. So it means that team actually 10 goals. 10 goals are Madrid actually this season. Kylian Mbappe Loiten or actually 6 goals.
Okay.
And was provided 6 assists. And listen, if you look at Kylian Mbappe record as a player, probably if there's any player who can break Leo Messi, any Ronaldo who goes or machine in recent time, it should be Kylian Mbappe. A bit depending how long Obetimia stay at the top, like Anthony Ronaldo. Listen, can you believe say Kylian Mbappe? And no one was sharing the 50th goal for Real Madrid team.
Yeah.
And 50th goal for Real Madrid team almost by 60-something games about list to and was 362 career goals Kylian Mbappe ashe.
Okay.
For club and country. And 49 shots of Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry carry out goals now. Osheye. Abranta naka 49 pe no Richie Thierry Henry there no. And he's just 26 years old. This season, I won't be surprised that Kylian Mbappe can score 40 plus goals. Last season, how many goals? He can score 40 plus goals, and it means that in the next 2 seasons, Thierry Henry goes over share. Yeah, Amanfo believes that he's one of the best attackers in the French history. Kylian Mbappe, before on retire, no break his arm ranting and say no game was very good. Alonso team he played very well against although they had a red card penalty. People might have issues on that, but Courtois and Greenwood they squandered a lot of chances, and Madrid forced chances to create, especially in the first half. Franco Mastantuono missed a lot of chances, and if they want to compare him to Lamine Yamal, the boy has to be clinical. He is very good, and in the first Champions League of Madrid, but then he had a lot of chances. Now, so coach me at the square game no crowd off, but he's a very good player. I think say also on to beat my baby. Madrid for at least they did the needful, and then said massive for elusu such game, and then I did Danny Cavaya it was needless from a player and a captain. You see, now the players have to know this head in this animal. Diego Costa, Pepe Ramos, they've been doing that in the 2010s ever. But since yes, and American Satan, so they were lucky, they were fortunate. But now remember Mecca James now call Nitiben or they can keep attention say what what from say yes. Or when himself would do Tiakano. The moment about the question, yeah, more red card and Ebasa, and then again Madrid next 2 Champions League games on the ball. Cavaya cannot play. And it means that they will go into the game playing Federico Valverde as the right back. Because they know Trent Alexander-Arnold play. And now, results Okocha can say Arnold Listo. Obama say 6 to 8 weeks, which is approximately 8 to 10 games. Obama say a lot of games. In fact, the game against Barcelona and even Liverpool, Trent a bit me misses our games. And see,
an international, and like we said, Obama is international break.
Oh, so international October they don't miss it. So after October international break, I think the next international one in next year.
Yeah.
And on Africa, because we call AFCON in December. So to me, if you look at Trent Alexander, as far as betting the year to he might be the next Eden Hazard or Madrid in terms of injuries, no. Because Abrante who checking the injury a year. So many times about be about Madrid is the second time opera. And about the 3rd timer also ever be problem see a lot of games. So I don't know I say Trent it's me a prior or Mezage, but no, the most important thing is a Kylian Mbappe LED Madrid to at least win almost first game in this year's Champions League. And we returned a lot of games, but then the shocker for me was Benfica leading 2-up on Makarabak FK Bebe to take and also PSV losing to Royal Unis and Geloa.
Okay. Yeah, Benedict games.
Yes, Indra exciting games echo so in the Champions League. Mamisha same free Arsenal. Arteta omuko Bilbao. Say ne ombetimi atoa that record Indra Mbeka say dia omu wini no kan on 6 occasions ombetimi defeat a Spanish club na omu hwese ombetimi atoa. So now Indra ohe lineup because Arsenal for betimi abo. That was the same thing omu parody here, but Indra lineup. One thing I know exciting about it, they said those said they were going into a difficult game. Arteta who said Kwan Biason and Brantiano and a bit me about that the game was decided by their subs and the Trossard and Martinelli. And I think said with a competition what team num Adebako this ahonki can be kosho Arteta going forward. Say nay so bet me any trophy. This is the competition Arteta Shesen and Branti and bit me about Martinelli coming into a game. He was coming into the game typically to maybe come and just maybe take one player, say obey, but in draw Bemu, share that crucial goal. Now this is not the back where Arteta and Branty and who said this is the only goal of my concede. Saboslai free kick or share against Omo. Saboslai free kick or share against us now. Now Osha, apart from that, they've not been able to concede any open play goal. That shows that we are defensively solid Arteta team here. And they defenders what a good team no. eche kwanya why na doing so opeso about this season. Last season you said that they were missing out of Saliba time prior, Gabriel do baby Gabriel be prior. Give your be shame during that Champions League game on ball against Real Madrid. But they the likes of Hanikapi Momaba making sure say and they say if there's any injury in their setup or no ebetimi abon homodin na bibia timi akoyi. I think Zendro Ateta ebon homodin ema bibia ekoyi o. Yeah, that is the Real Madrid Marseille game. Indra, this game is one game. I was seeing that the game would just go to the wire. It would take a crucial win, a bare 1 goal margin. Say I'm can history back in this fixture. So mostly it's just a 1 goal margin in a decided game. Now Indra, there was another record being set in that Champions League game. Player friend Timothy Weah. You can't almost meet me a shego at the Banabala. Ne papa, that is George Weah, and a share that crucial goal 1994 Super Cup win. And now no friend, that is the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup. Yeah. Or share that goal at the Banabala and draw ne ba Timothy Weah and so ebe boss our goal no. It's in to make sure say history and papa set here no with teammate to us. So enye no pe before signing for team a friend Marseille no, you who another historical picture between on ne papa. Ne photo shoot or no omo similar to the ne papa. He's trying to make sure say ne obetimi replicate bibia ne papa ebeye no so etimi ai den abon homodin. Ndo ahwe the Real Madrid setup Adiba akwa meni aje Xabi Alonso coming into this Real Madrid team and are coming into the season here. Why not doing say who's a team nim picking do baby or pese do enu ntino on take chances sa keke or make sure say or prepare going into every game. Into social Indra game on Mukoya. I know a lot of people were surprised if Vinicius and started. Now Rodrigo started ahead of Vinicius. Though say when himself Marseille for one bear margin say they will start the ball from the back. Indra Oshe goalkeeping errors are not in Keba game numa kebeti me lead to go. Yes, a mube 4 and now goalkeeper not because the 0% goalkeeper started ball in free HE. No starting ball into a free HE dia unhia hwan na press the likes of Kylian Mbappe, the likes of Rodrigo and the other Guillermo and also mutimi press etimi nya sa ball ni free omunchen na on the Real Madrid team it was sad say Alexander Arnold unya just 3 touches in the game odinya injury Carvajal also be mu with experience and no one. That thing that happened was something senior Vincent Boss no. Now with VAR coming into the game with experience at Carvajal Kutana and yes or yes mistakes no. It's in draw be no game who said the moment unya that red card Kylian Mbappe was in a hurry to even take the captain hands ban from him. Yes.
Mistakes Ben or yeah, what did he do?
Ocha from not a corner kick Real Madrid. So from the corner kick, and I don't know what the goalkeeper said to him. No ne etimi pushi ni man koye den na dwen send your ben no diniti akwa kushano na the only thing say footballers there obeben no nyonko no anya so diniti we nso diniti beba no mde omuti abehia but from the goalkeeping side no ono anya na dwen so onko diniti behia Carvajal. So with the movement of Carvajal tino ekobo neni asisi and na me no so na referee ni kohwe VAR the red card by and I think say with experience at Carvajal nya with this Real Madrid setup and him said this season red cards at Real Madrid nya going into the La Liga even from the FIFA Club World Cup obano it shows a discipline. The players are not being disciplined, especially taking 1 or 2 decisions or pitch so. And as a leader, as a captain, as one who said that is something that you need to insist on discipline within the setup, within the squad. So me seeing Kylian Mbappe trying to take the friend is saying the captain handband from him. Saying you bet me about born in them. I heard some bet me that second goal. Bet me
that time 1-1.
Yes. On bet me that second goal in them. No, I'm bet me winning game. I think the Real Madrid second penalty no was controversial. Saying now Vicente can we have a lot of people saying say player on a natural position being on the ground no. Untimi mfa nensa mbeto ne boso anon fa nensa ntete kwan bia so no nensa ebehia ball and I think say this is where VAR needs to look at and UEFA and FIFA as omutimi hwe omo VAR decisions ni because there are some things yes a handball in the penalty box. There are also some things that the player on any day no untimi enye den enyi nensa enfiu na Indra Kylian Mbappe even though getting that 2 penalties no you who's waiting me 50th goal now with this 50th goal no Oshe ne coming to Real Madrid ne baby a wagina abobo ne short any baby a wagina she ne goals it shows how incredible Kylian Mbappe has really improved in this Real Madrid setup. It is a virus that is data ne beto so ani most of the goals are within the 18-yard box. Ye name say coming to Real Madrid now for complaining say Kylian Mbappe a player be he likes to move from the wing into no bar or person be born the ball in free but so share goals na the red pointer that is where with me share the goals ni na it shows and he's trying to adapt to that being that box present striker. Roma did share free in the corner now usha and shot on target and the shots into our ball it shows say yes he's around the 18-yard box and just behind the 18-yard box the Chelsea he's really improving. I wouldn't be surprised say any record why not doing say oh breaky I wouldn't be surprised the season never end he'll be able to add a lot of goals to his game and he'll be to me Abuama Real Madrid team if they are to win the Champions League if they are to win the La Liga a bejina Kylian Mbappe so any goals any contribution in the team bibia betimi akoyi Indra there was one surprising game and I think say Benfica and a Gariba game no and I think Ushe from the start of the game even 15 minutes into the game no be him say babe maybe a bloodbath ama Gariba because from minute 1 to minute 15 not shot on target at team friend Benfica enya na anodin and their chances are not much creative within that way time no enso ya di ba kwa na anodin but one thing I'm steady in the game they say from the 30th minute no then me nim coaching tactics a guy back coach no and I been so a friend and Branty and a catch room because everything just switched from that 30th minute into no be a no game no na maybe you bet MYBET.AFRICA cash out wo no na nke ese oje because so shese na game ne kwa guy back create that is 3 chances before the first half whistle and everything shows said the next goal and kebeba game nim free because they created a lot of chances a lot in the game and in the second half they made it happen and omutimi benyo mo first crucial goal in the second half and the game ne be balance showing say they can make sure say they can get a draw at least Benfica and now Lisbon. And they went on to the last minute of the game and they defeated Benfica. No be a washer Benfica from the UEFA Champions League last season coming into the FIFA Club World Cup and even into their league games on boy. Any game on boy, they are one team win. They would go into a game, washer 1, washer 2. You win the Champions League last season against Barcelona. Barcelona betty a share you win the FIFA Club World Cup even with Chelsea within extra time Chelsea do share 4 and now in their league games they are facing the same thing so seeing the same thing happening in a game like this and now me so na team the coach a friend Bruno Lage kwan and they almost so omudi Jose Mourinho betimi aba because they need that defensive solidity ebe say omko into games they will make sure say omo share 3 at least omo the 3 na pon omu she 2 omu the 2 na pon enye saa going into a game now be lead by 2 goals and ushe their fixtures coming up this is one of the easiest fixtures at home they can take points from.
So take your points because Karabakh with all due respect they should be the shipping boys looking at the experience
Benfica in the Champions League
in the money you and taking a 2-goal lead means you need to manage the game, and it has become a problem for teams that they cannot manage games because I can't understand why a team will lose after going a 2-goal
up and even in 15 minutes I will dominate the game
then you go ahead and lose the game and you say be a only Real Madrid be an Barcelona be never no waka so only Real Madrid and Barcelona never and Dortmund game for Saudi Arabia
yes Ushe Benfica the match is it will need a brilliant coach tactically good defensively solid say Jose Mourinho the betimi more qualify for the next round of the Champions League at the Inter make us and it's 30th September omni Chelsea it was Stamford Bridge obo we on Newcastle and also wo England we are on Bayern Leverkusen we are also on Ajax on Napoli now if you about be win the Champions League with Juventus Real Madrid intuition a list of 8 games now near woman this was the game at least in case of team in 6 goals and a 3.3 Nene going away to Chelsea, Newcastle, Juventus. Some fixtures be ananke betimi aboa, at least draws in some of the games betimi aboa no. But senior they knew what is happening. NNA or metimi ejo coach ne kwan omo hwe. Say they can bring a new coach. Na nene their next game omo bebo, they would put that strong Benfica side and him say they come into European competitions and dominate. Nene betimi aboa mo modern. With Juventus Dortmund, I think with this fixture, say virus the graph ne beto so near from the first half performance, any second half performance, a man who's a football, BBA timisi womu. Just 2 minutes, 3 minutes into a game, BBA timisi. Osha graph at that screen is what? From the first half, both teams ball mo boy. Expected goals, not intimimpo ndu one. Na Osha Juventus and an dominating with performance and no more than it. So Obibiara Nendo T show them catch them say this fixture every day, anytime. Juventus, it produces 3+ goals. And say me bet we are both team to score over 2.5. The option I'm because they likely say bebo. And Usha the way the game they call in the first half, I wasn't surprised seeing a 4-4 at the end of the game because I know that these two teams, omu imagine so mu be maba, omu be goals. Omu imagine so mu tinemu a defender, one of the best teams Juventus. You wonder Thiago Motta last season in the Champions League, the amount of goals conceded, and the Italian teams are so when it comes to the Champions League, say be a to and say they won't mean no, they will do that for you. In draw, it was a good game. I think Borussia Dortmund, you won this type of performance from them in the Champions League against Real Madrid last season, going 2 goals up and losing by 5 goals to 2. And then against Juventus, it was one game they were looking at least getting that crucial win in their first game. Last season, in their second game against Dortmund, the first away game against Celtic, Okoko won by 5 goals. They were looking at this. Yentimi replicated the same thing. Then the Champions League na yebono. Yetimi akoyenim. And I think we have both teams are. That is what we want in football, and that is why our Champions League new face, another new league this is what we are looking at because teams and so I just need a goal to get a 3 points. Now me they are but they are looking at getting enough goals. Say ne ukoda 15th no be that 16th who the goal difference and a panel. And now only be with the same point, how the goal difference and a better than and I think say both teams came into the game grassy. Adeyemi mobile, making sure say if they are not even getting the goals, they are getting the assists to help their team. And I think say player back will be any corner home. This. And this boy actually say anytime he's being given the nod to perform, he goes in and perform. One thing I'm a pet about his game, trying to shoot from long range. And I think that as a young player, utiminya that confidence to start doing that at this time. It improves your game a lot. And going forward, he's that key man at Juventus for Bayern Madrid. Say they will depend on him. They will set their team on him. And they're going into previous or next Champions League game. He'll be that crucial player for them. And I think that's also Juventus. Their next games are at home. It was a result they were happy about. But to me, I think it's a very disappointing result for Juventus because on the next home game of in the Champions League will be against Sporting. Will be another crucial game against the newly promoted side and a new team in the Champions League. That is Pafos Obetimia taking advantage of them. But against Dortmund and performance leading and now coming to in the losing stage and they Otimbete draw MNA 4-4. I think it was a crucial game for them in their next Champions League. Obebo ne home modern elho. PSV any Union Saint-Gilloise. I think PSV watch your games this season or the Regivissimo. Said they are one team they like to concede. PSV Mbo game this season on conceding more than 2 goals here. Even in games I feel say PSV bet me going to this game and win. They would at least concede 2 goals. And Ababe one thing has become part of their team and going forward. So mean to me and to Nyamaya, this is the Champions League. Everybody wants to get enough goals to be able to win and win well. Oshe their game against Union it was one game I know be at so PSV at home and the performance are no more than Edino to make sure at least it will be a goal over 2.5 happening, but they are going to be the end winners of the game. But Oshe Union from the start of the game, from the blast of the whistle, Omuyo Madrid said they will take it to PSV, and getting that 2 goals was crucial for them because when you say PSV bet me buy into the game, it will surely get them a point, and getting a point away in the Champions League a very crucial amount because your home games you can get that easy games when I only more pitch, unim send your ball to get those wins. But getting that third goal, Momu will say yes, we've arrived in the Champions League and we can perform well. Those said the PSV in that equalizer, it wasn't our term it as it was meaningless because at that time na BBRG they couldn't get on. But I think the Champions League first round and our first group of games we Aboy and Koko. So we should be expecting a lot of goals. And we should be expecting the team to come out and play and make sure say everything go. Oshe games they see in over 1.5 in all boy. And there are some teams we have Tottenham against Villarreal. That would be my last game I met on. Because I said Thomas Frank coming into this Tottenham Hotspur's team. About 5 games in draw game they come about 5. We keep it clean sheet 4. Ope coach and the clean sheet who hiana Thomas Frank. Last season, at the Inter and Brentford performance, every time they make sure say they score first. In the Premier League, they went 4 games in a row that they were scoring from minute 0 to minute 2. Now Brentford actually go. And the show said they are one team, they take scoring very important. So coming into this Tottenham team, and Ama players, about counter-attack football, defensively they weren't solid. They were conceding a lot of goals, He wanted to now start by building that defensive structure here. Then now attacking wise, the likes of Mohamed Kudus, Kolo Muani, and your friend is saying Javi Simons, Moody Goose, Everton, and playing your first game in the Champions League against Villarreal, keeping a clean sheet was the maximum thing you can go out for because this Villarreal team are scoring on any day. Going to Atletico, Konya 2-0 defeat. Coming into this game, it was an important game for them. Now, the game, it took decisions from VAR. In Kenya and Wanka, maybe Tottenham would have gotten maybe 2-3 goals because they had penalty shouts in the game. But maybe Thomas Frank Abaso, maybe players the likes of Van der Ven down there showing say defensively that partnership between Onini and Romero. I wouldn't be surprised. Say Bedu Baby, we will compare that partnership with Saliba and Gabriel because their pairing is very good. And about the pace, Van der Ven amount that pace ahead of Romero. About that aggressiveness on the ball, Hona Romero and Subema. So they balance each other so well. And if they can get these two players fit into the season, into this Champions League, they can have one of the best defensive setup in the Premier League, and also in the Champions League. I think that the Champions League, and then it be near games, senior BBA bet me a call.
Okay, you're sharing games.
Yeah. I'm starting with Chelsea match, and it's basically maybe the biggest game, and maybe your other games, Liverpool, Atletico Madrid, but I'm starting with Chelsea game, Virus, I think it's going to be an interesting game, and if you look at these two teams, Bayern, a very tough opponent for Chelsea. Listo, if you look at Chelsea history in the Champions League, Chelsea share Madrid and even with Barca, Chelsea a fierce rivalry mostly Ayana Barca for share Chelsea or Mobre. But then another team was Chelsea in the history of the Champions League competition. Barca was Chelsea 4 times, no team, and I share Chelsea more in the Champions League. Now, do you know the team who is second? Bayern Munich. We share Chelsea 3 times. And in fact, Chelsea doesn't have very good record against team and the Bayern Munich. And Bayern for definitely list in this game, they are the favorites. Yeah. Yes.
Panthers,
And you see, anytime they ever say, I'm a Chelsea fan. But I remember Chelsea against Man City in the 2021 Champions League final. They gave Chelsea 4.57 odds. Yeah. Recently, in the FIFA Club World Cup, they gave Chelsea 4 odds. And so I bet me tried here. And you see, there are several instances the Chelsea fans will be like, oh, Chelsea, the moment of a game will be underrated. That is when Chelsea will pull a surprise. Now, if you look into this game, baby, I don't know. Essential volume kesiye listo. This is the same venue. Chelsea went there to win their first ever Champions League trophy. Yeah. Internet say if you look at Champions League for omo flyer omo here, and especially in this game, it was Olise and Joao Pedro. Behind Joao Pedro, Didier Drogba. Shedroja Olise echi, Iron Robin. The end stadium near the hall, Allianz Arena under the Champions League lights. So they are almost trying to say, although Chelsea, after that Champions League game, Kobo 1-1, a couple penalties at Chelsea, they win it. They've met, and the last time they met at the Allianz War, Bayern for Chelsea 4-1.
Okay.
And they went to Stamford Bridge to go and score Chelsea at that particular season, 2021 season. They scored Chelsea on 7-1 on aggregate. 2017, Omukochi Chelsea in international one of these preseason games. Omu Chelsea, and then again Super Cup final. Almost also Chelsea, Chelsea when Chelsea Kokoji Europa League, and then again Champions League playoffs. Chelsea so Eddie win, and since then after that Champions League game, about 3 times I'm a nina buyer at the top. Now Eba Bayan say a opening game, especially in the Champions League. May start with the history. I back in these teams, then I'll come to the tactical side. If you look at these teams, at least two, Bayern Munich for list, they have a very good record, especially in the group stage games. Since 2003, but change the league format, change the DNA Champions League. No other team in the Champions League since 2002, 2003 ever. And there were more Champions League group stage and a league phase matches. Were winning more than Bayern Munich. Out of 128 games Omabo in the group stage and a league phase no. List to Omar winning 98, which is the highest percentage of any team in the UEFA Champions League. And list to Omar lose just one of Omar last 11 home games against English teams. So with them, Oba Munich and Oba Munich, now we have Allianz Arena Edin so against last 11 games. Omar lose just one. And Omar winning all the other games against City, against Arsenal, United, Chelsea, and even Tottenham Hotspur. So with them, they have a very good record. And looking at Ammonia in our list, Chelsea also a very good record. Maybe for 2 seasons, they are more in the Champions League. But Chelsea in Europe, last 13 games, list to Omar winning 12. They are also going there, and it's going to be something now. But if you look at Bayern Munich for now, it's not as if say they haven't lost to English teams. Allianz Arena. In 2019, Georgian club Liverpool kochom. Same as 2013, one Bayern City kochom. Now Vincent Kompany, who is the coach for Bayern Munich, he was no bencher, or also Ntmiambo sa game nibi. But you see, their recent record against England teams, very good. And then again, list to who check it opening games ball. Last 34, Ning no more winning. So we opening game. Now we ball Homer. Edin said Bayern Munich. Able lose the opening game. The last time they lost an opening game at home was to Deportivo La Corona in 2002. Okay. So everything back Bayern Munich. They are head to head against Chelsea. The Champions League group stage and a league phase record, their home games against English teams, everything back home. So I'm not surprised the bookmakers I'm more small odds on Chelsea. Then again, listen, in this game, so when Chelsea was coming to play against PSG, Michel said, we've seen how instrumental Gianluigi Donnarumma was for PSG, especially in their run for the Champions League and even in the FIFA Club World Cup against Team B to say Bayern Munich. When Bayern first corner chances was Donnarumma who was saving them. Because if Chelsea would have a chance to survive PSG, man-to-man marking, how create chances, I will say Robert Sanchez live up to expectation. And then Manuel Neuer will also be up there list in the history of the Champions League. We're keeping the most clean sheet, which is 60. Okay. And all the most saves, 413 in the UEFA Champions League. And then we about 99 Champions League games. So about it means that we'll rather 100 club participation for a player.
That is century.
Yeah. That is only 3 players penalist to on my side here. Thomas Muller, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Ike Casillas 101. So it means that Otimbo League first matches in 2 games gonna obey break Ike Casillas most appearances to be the best goalkeeper. Most clean sheets, most saves in the history of the Champions League, and also most games appearance. So and that will be a historic game for Abraham and the Manuel Neuer. So despite the fact that he will be up there, if Bayern Munich for Betis will need this game at least, they will need that heroics from Manuel Neuer, who is arguably the best player as far as the Champions League is concerned with the numbers. Clean sheets ni saves no. Now, virus and fact the probable lineup and so on. Read the tactical aspect now. Main fancy. Is it normally Chelsea set here up, or with a 4-2-3-1 system. But always when you can say the formation of the game no doesn't mean that is how Utin be set it up. The principles and structure of who kita ball and who kita ball, people who are tactically inclined in the game, I won't afraid be off the ball and now like in ball possession. Now Chelsea saying that Chelsea best start the game. List to virus mabako another one. They will go in for a 4-back system and you see Enzo Maresca. Who himself or the game or about four defenders or about 2 players in central midfield or about 3 players in attacking behind a lone striker. Now, our game against Brentford, Malo Gusto wasn't injured, but Orestino. Regimes wasn't injured, but because he managed regimes, so doesn't mean Gusto best started this game. To me, the players at Chelsea, if whoever coach Enzo Maresca will select you, say Bekobiano, once the approach on the Bekobiano tactically disciplined, you win. And you see, one Omoye interview, company say Nicholas Jackson have more insights about Chelsea team, no. And Maresca can say it would be good to say Jackson has been with us since me about Chelsea. One am a top striker. He knows how we play. But Mr. Jackson say, how do Chelsea prepare for games? They have a standard. How star principles now they make possessive football. Chelsea build up very slow. A quick attack, a quick counter-attacking football. Into check coaches are Omunaya and Pep Guardiola. Omun build up here very slow. Omun build up in 10. The moment ube lusu control ube click that is when bought that diagonal passes. So the base is in there. So yes, you will build it from the back. You himself also press a 1v1. So that is where they will use the weakness of Omomo opponents to attach you. So against PSG, they knew say PSG. You have game both some of the Dembele pitch be or attacking and Nima Dani Tiger. So pressing him. They didn't have no problem with that. But they used the weakness in PSG for man-to-man marking. And listen, it's the same way Bayern Munich for one ball. Man-to-man marking. Bayern Munich for Listo. Oma bought 40-something games since last season. Oma Lusu 5 or 4. I stand to be corrected. And my main cross-check, they lost to Aston Villa. In the last season, in the Champions League phase, Oma Lusu 3 games. Yeah. To Feyenoord. Yeah. To Aston Villa. And I think, was it Barcelona? Let me. I think
to Inter Milan.
To Inter Milan. Listen, if you look at these teams, these are teams that they are dominant from the flanks. Look at Aston Villa. No more Asensio. Rashford. Or McGinn. Or Watkins. Inter Milan. Even DiMarco scored in that game. Or more right back here of Netherlands. Dumfries. Plus Thuram, any Abraham and the Lautaro Martinez. Look at their game against Feyenoord. That game, you watch along over this channel. Igor Pachao, I know Oko Marseille. Sharp winger from the flanks, no more the show. Even against Benfica in the FIFA Club World Cup, teams are wingers are holding the weight. Against PSG in the FIFA Club World Cup. So these are the teams. 5 teams at least to Omashe Bayern in over 42 something games are Omabo. And look at Chelsea setup. So, however, Enzo Maresca best at Tibiano. I think so Obeko with the 4-2-3-1 system. To me, if Chelsea go into this game or the lineup we qua, I won't be surprised because they have sharp wingers. If Luis Diaz and Ebeboa, you know, say regimes when it comes to 1v1 situation, one of the best wingers in the world. Who the regimes attack any winger behind also. So to me, if regimes are starting this game, I won't be surprised. Kukureya can maintain Olise. Olise is a red hot form. I don't have a problem with that. The two center backs for me are available. Tosin and Abrantende Chaloba, Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo. Probably Abrantende Estavio Williams. Onyambo Champions League in Bida. He might become one of the youngest players on the Champions League match Chelsea. But to me, I believe say Chelsea should start this game. Listen, if you look at how Virus in fact one of how Bayern for no listen, omo yom 1v1 person and how Chelsea can affect you. If you look at Bayern for now listen, some attack and omo kitabo omo subo a 4-2-3-1 system. But with them, if they are in possession, where at Chelsea, that if they are in possession, list to buy a phone, apart from some 4-2-1 system, no, wing backs, no, that is the left back and the right back, either Lima, and then Stanisic, your best as the left back, go anymore, come to form a 2-4-4 system. Into Jonathan Ta, any Opamecano, Ebejina, and Echiri. Then Lima ne Stanisic left backs no ebe ko o may invert but did o confirm more. So you get either Liam Goretzka or Pavlovic, any Kimmich right in front of Jonathan Tah, any Opamecano. Then the full backs no ebe invert and fin. That is some occupy that half spaces and can the number 8 and number 10 be occupying that position. Then you see Olise at the far end. You see Luis Diaz also Pep Guardiola and Kwadibi. Also company team no, they touch the wings. Into Ube Olise, Ube Diaz. Then you have one will be a Stanisic in Gina. That is a left back. One will be a Lima Gina. Nabri as the second striker, and also Harry Kane. Harry Kane this season was 10 goals. Nabri up assist and also 4 goals or no LED in assist with 4 assists and only so 3 assists. So with them, they create a lot of chances. So they attack. Omo attack here list to a major 4 players at the back. Pavlovic ni Kimmich mu. Ebe any Opamecano ni Tambe for me a diamond at the back. Then 6 players here attacking. And when they are pressing, omo pressing man to man, aggressive. And the how Chelsea BT that same man to man press no against PSG. And Chelsea so then say, "Obeba man to man, they will need the goalkeeper." Ntiabasa na Chelsea defenders no may try say Cavaros bet me how Chelsea so e break PSG there no. Yes, Cavaros in fact against PSG there no. And so yeah, we are one thing. But we are now the match there now so. Look at how they BT PSG man to man. This is how they can also beat Bayern Munich. Bayern for no pressing man to man. So you see Harry Kane, Olise, Nabri, Pavlovic, Muina, Elko Chelsea players so. So if Sanchez, Maye, that same performance, especially in passes distribution against PSG na list to maybe I'm not 400 maso. Chelsea, you use Gusto and Joao Pedro to beat Omo pressing.
Yeah.
Inti Caicedo, Rich James, and Enzo Fernandez. Yeah, Basana, you be just 4 players. So right back, 2 pivotal midfielders in front of the defenders. They are very close. Need a lot of space. Into Obeba man to man. So what Chelsea want to do is say we have Kopama, we have Joao Pedro, we have Pedro Neto, and even if Enzo Fernandez or more anymore. So say it's maybe 2 players, no, 6 players. I don't know press 7 players, no. Now, but the banner say Joao Pedro quite me control bonus or flick here. Eba 3v3 and a 4v3 against who defenders.
Okay.
And then again, they will rely on the brilliance of the attackers to finish you. So you see the space near anymore. Oh, press not anymore. That space won't be defended. This is how Chelsea will be defending.
Okay.
If Chelsea defend here, I'm defending a 5-2-3 formation. So definitely either one of our wingers, no, back. So Pedro Neto was very brilliant. Tactically, or yes, man, so whether Pedro Neto best started from the right side of an attack and now the left side, or bet me about 4 centre backs might different because in as much as or more players holding the rate, they also overload the central area like Chelsea. Because Chelsea players holding the rate. We have 4 players or more midfield or more attacking that has spaces. Okay. So Chelsea you will have another player which is a winger and also a natural fullback holding say attacking from the flanks. Then also have a lot of players in the midfield. To me, and they build report on the band say buy a 4 lineup and say list various betting that also starting Goretzka. Okay. Any Kimmich Nabri any typical number 10. In fact, Kopama Elba, the number of duels near distance Nabri will not give you that. In this game, they will go attack. You see Lima, just 2 to 3 players. And that space needs to watch the game against Benfica. Watch their game against Inter Milan. Game there's a lot of space. Almost that space now. Fulham. Any brand for this year, Chelsea, this is always be an okay. But in that game, Chelsea set up 3 back near just 2 players and you come more but against PSG, you defend like how we defend against Bayern. Bayern being a chance. They might be more clinical than PSG. The reason why makers say they have Hurricane. No, on set chance to say a Desiree Doué and Dembele. So the least chance about Aubameyang, he can score you. But one thing is say Chelsea for tactically they are into this game. So to me, listen, game near Chelsea for no Aubameyang sa weakness so meeting but if Bayern for your margin say against Fulham any Brentford goes from Kofa Tosin today, I don't want to see Tosin as the right centre back. I don't know why recently Tosin at that right centre back. Meanwhile, 2 games are Brentford any Fulham they share just. If it was Chalobah and Fofana, they would have even recovered fast than Tosin. So to me, with that centre back, I'm expecting Chelsea lineup and surprise betting Chelsea down to swap. This game, space now Lima. Any standards is better to match. Chelsea flanks on list. We need speedsters. This game, lucky for Garnacho ni Gittins. That space now, Lime on Beja one. If you have players or meet me attacking that space or more pace now.
So if you check and looking at the minutes for Fana Boy,
yeah,
don't you think it's an ideal to start him on a Chaluba end? This is a game. It will not be like the normal we share small club, right? You want to pass. You need somebody who can pass in a certain way.
Chelsea will pass.
This is maybe a Bayern team. You need maybe your goalkeeper to be going long. You need your player who can give long passes, just counter attack.
Listen, I'm not also forget to say, Uji your game now, your boy now. Even say Liverpool or long passes chain. Robert Sanchez in that game.
Engine makers say long passes is not an issue for the player.
We will need Obi to set toes in our team anymore. So to me,
how slow he is.
Yes.
So
but me against Bayern, I wouldn't advise going for
yes. So to me, I think say send a Marisa kind of no team or here somebody or organizer, and he doesn't see Fofana and Chalobah doing that. To me, Chalobah early days yet to go against Hurricane Luis Diaz. So definitely I will start Fofana, but regimes will be doing the invention. Yenyabo by regimes with me cover that position and they might more accurate. Then let's start Garnacho in this game. To me, that space now Lima be just one. And then Garnacho trademark. Say what touching the rings, no about 2 space. He can be even a bit say Gittins. Gittins games of both here by Munich and no goals because of that space. So whether they best start Gittins, whether they best start Pedro Neto, Garnacho or that side, we can utilize that. Say start Pedro Neto so was Spanish side the left side alongside Kopama, we can also cause havoc to them. Listen, to me, this game, I see game tactically. Every team, obviously, press man to man market. Okay. Whoever will take the chances, able to me about to this game. But to me, you're not able to take risk. Our Chelsea for us, we are going to take that risk. But in this game, I see over 2.5 goals in this game. Okay. Both teams to score highly possible, and we should expect over 8.5 corners in this game.
Okay, all right. Share games.
Yes, indeed. Share and games are because Paris Saint-Germain and Atlanta, and I think say Paris Saint-Germain they are coming into the Champions League as champions. Every game will be crucial for them. Team be a better dream. So when the Paris Saint-Germain beboa, you are meeting the champions. If you are to defeat the champions, your possibility of also getting the chance to win, but they are unbeaten in their last 12 games. They are unbeaten in their last 12 games against Italian sides. They're going against Atlanta, no, in a way, a cool chop, Emma Paris Saint-Germain. Young come Champions League. We the Champions League. The home games are about a 6. Ni na we 3+ goals at home. In a game against Atlanta, it shows likely we should see a lot of goals in this game. And Paris Saint-Germain team, they are coming into this game missing some of their key players. Desire Day wouldn't be available. Ousmane Dembele wouldn't be available. And coach Luis Enrique, because of name, the Sergio Okoye, to mostly why not doing say best started the game, meaning say any plan and then structure. Yeah, why not doing say it's your best started the game from the media box side or no, to watch the first half from there. Now second half for Babi Gina touchline Mabiakoye. So looking at this game, Paris Saint-Germain will be missing their key players. If Ousmane Dembele and Desire they were available for this game, I would go for a straight Paris Saint-Germain win and also an over 2.5 in this game. But the way a Paris Saint-Germain started on the Champions League last season, it should give you a sign that this will be a very difficult game for them, especially missing 1 or 2 players. This game is surely I'm going for a both team to score. Say likely Atlanta, firepower, they will surely get a goal in this game, and also Paris Saint-Germain getting a goal. So over 2.5, both team to score. Option I make in this Paris Saint-Germain setup. With Liverpool, Atletico Madrid, I think this is one fixture. So be a team with Timiko Anfield, Etimikonya result Atletico Madrid, and Diego Simeone in Brantiano. In their last few games, about Anfield no. Omutimi etimi pick it that crucial win against Liverpool. And
last few games, let's look at the games Omutimi Enyasa.
Yes, Anfield. So Osha on my last 2 games on my ball, Anfield. You carried that victory 2, that is 20, your friends saying 17. Call a crucial game, Omutimi game Nico penalty se ko win here. They did something similar in 2010, and I'm to Liverpool and Umpomu win here. But with your friend is saying away go rule and a Liverpool at the Koja. And their last time call Anfield no and no Mutimi konya 2-0 and no omunya a red card. Into going into this game, Upetima Utimi standing toe to toe with Liverpool when it comes to the Champions League. Obebo Atletico Madrid dinya kan. Now Liverpool their last 14 games on Mabo Ewufie Nini no metimi pick victory, especially in their last games on Mobile. Say if you won the first game of here. Emu 10 with me winning na, but yes spread it. Say be our boy we obebo home 14 with me Cavani na. The last 13 games emu 11. First half go to me back in their Champions League game. And one thing I Liverpool as and their kind of game one mostly in the Champions League. Then come game scoring that last minute goals in the Champions League. And they almost deciding who in the league phase in their last 4 games now.
Are we going to see their performance in the league replicating itself
in the Champions
League?
We'll see.
If it is going to happen like that, then they don't have a chance against Atletico Madrid.
No, against a game like this, so here Liverpool against Arsenal, it was a different setup. Liverpool against any other team, Bournemouth, no, it was a different setup.
But they needed a set piece goal to score.
Yes, and Slot Energy say he will try to sit back and make sure say defensively they are solid, they are one of the best. We saw it in the league last season. When I join say in a game, your person call full attacker. They are also one of the best. Against Atletico, Liverpool wouldn't sit back. And this is a game I need Simeone and the style of play. Or Ben Adrian say, or best sit here above counter. And against Villarreal, Utimichi that and it worked. Or Ben Adrian say he will try to replicate. Osha Atletico, Osha in the last 5 games or about against any other team, ne aggregate, we consider 17 goals. So when we are seeing Liverpool scoring 2+ goals in this game. Now, in this fixture, one thing I would go for and say, likely Atletico will get a goal at Anfield. On any day, there is a goal available for Atletico or Anfield. Liverpool will surely get a win. I'm seeing a Liverpool win and both teams to score. The safest option I'll bet me in this fixture, a Liverpool win or draw 1.5. And I think that on the night, the likes of Alexander Isak getting some minutes for Liverpool in this game because why training any BBI. Yeah, sure, Ayas any Inter Milan game and also because these are 2 giants when it comes to the Champions League. Performance wise, omuna bo more than by him say and ne so be Gina Park ne so no Champions League ne nyum. Na ebia be na reho ni team a team your friend Inter Milan. because their last Champions League game or conceded 5 goals, the worst ever Champions League final. And the highest scoring Champions League final will be in. So going into this game will be a pay revenge. Going into a Champions League phase, a team a friend Inter Milan. Oshe Ayasa, or a team beyond the last 5 competitive games of our bonum. From minute 1 to minute 20, Quine Bias goes eba. Internet who early go in the game and manage. And on the other hand, on also the last 12 games of our bo, emu 8, omo over 3.5 goals. Now, Upeti man and saying go share iron da Inter Milan. In TNA, say going into this game, a high scoring game, saying against Juventus Dortmund, and because these are 2 high scoring teams and Inter Milan also in the Champions League phase. Before Mudi at the quarterfinals and in the round of 16 we do final. Upeti man no keep it clean sheet Inter Milan. About 9 games to keep it clean sheet to 8. And when the games move. So this game, I'm seeing both teams surely scoring. At we Oshe Ayasa, the last time Obo a home game, I went to me and share a goal was in their league back in May. Internet say Ayas getting a goal, likely say but Inter Milan also scoring, likely. The safest option I'm marshal for over 1.5 over 2.5. Both teams to score likely to also happen in this game. But social fixture way history a bema the different view of Inyama making because fixture way history likely say over 2.5 but the last time over 2.5 was back in 2006. Every time 206 the return leg 206 208 we are seeing a 1-0 1-0 1-1 game, but I'm not sure that time the Inter Milan the way are almost set up is different from any Inter Milan team under Christian Shivoa Omoye. So this game I'm seeing a both team to score. I'm seeing 1.5 or Ayas scoring that crucial goal. That fixture, I think, on the night is one of the highlights to watch. Chelsea, Bayern Munich, and Oshe Ota, I want my MYBET.AFRICA. Chelsea Ota ni do ye. And every time, say watch Chelsea under Enzo Maresca. Maresca game say no pay. So against Brentford, Nenya Moa say rotated squad and there were a whole lot of things and Chelsea fans say complaining. Maresca upe coach are planning for a game no. So in Dramitie company press, our car say why Chelsea 30 games from last season. No, unimsenia Chelsea set it up. Unimsenia Maresca born a ball, and with the help of Nicolas Jackson, they will be able to do something. Not a mystery because this is Enzo Maresca. Upe will be a Pep Guardiola with overthinking Enzo Maresca na beba. And now Luis Enrique and Enzo Maresca because he goes into game preparing for the opponent. And yeah, me want say Maresca I prepare for game we even watching Vincent Kompany or Burnley games. Any the way or set up against Chelsea in those games.
Say only no champions.
Yes. He will be prepared for Vincent Kompany. Now say with the Nicolas Jackson we are Maresca Babeka say yes. Onim say Nicolas Jackson obi obetimi aboa we Bayern Munich come meet me who the insight of how Chelsea would come up, Nicolas Jackson. But I think say with that, it would also Wabeka about team who say it's a sign say Bianca first going into a big game like this, we are prepared with that same approach. Yes. It is one game a history. It talks a lot about this game. Now Oko Germany Bayern Munich fans do say defeated Chelsea but that Champions League final at home against Chelsea it's one of their worst defeat in the Champions League because they got a chance to win a Champions League trophy at home ground. The likes of Didier Drogba mutimi ko we meko say party Now before this game Didier Drogba at the post to Instagram. Now I think say the post is to inform the Chelsea players, ginger them for this game and make sure say game you mukomu they need to go in and win. Now Ushe post that Didier Drogba dey abeto abontia. Ne tuni tete ya nyane so person che say Allianz Arena no height say Cobham a training ground ma Chelsea. It is a training ground ma Chelsea dia omo ko ho a mo mfo ehun hwe omo omo nkonkobo sese ni ombetimi abo in this game. And I think so Ushe game ne statistics ni bibia e back Bayern Munich to win. Because in the Champions League, Bayern Munich in the last 5 games we averaged 20 shots per game. Internet Sanchez we juma ye papa. Say ni save so be and ni save percentage and last season nim say no born homodin woman ne we be here Sanchez so betimi aboss and homodin home. And Bayern Munich at home 37 Champions League games. Emu 36 with me go. Seeing Bayern Munich scoring no enye obi anwa. And I wouldn't think that Chelsea can keep Bayern Munich and keep a clean sheet in this game, with the likes of Harry Kane coming into the game. Chelsea, on the other hand, in the last 5 Champions League away games were born. Emu 3, Chelsea are caught without no scoring. So this will be something that Maresca
I think you can.
You know, with stats wise, yes.
Yeah.
But Osha Chelsea are in all competitions, dating back from time from January, Emuba, and Maresca and Adrian. So okay, now we need to go into games. Emu 8, they scored 2+ goals. Ntene a bear goal galore at Allianz Arena, but a bit dependent. Why never go into the game? Very prepared and very solid. The last time at Chelsea visited Allianz Arena, and the last time at Chelsea, any Bayern Munich boy and virus the Chelsea lineup. Etoso. Now who baby at Chelsea free that team. Ababe do ene. Now Osha that lineup at Chelsea the core ya. Ube the likes of Mason Mount ewomu. Ube Kai Havertz munso ewomu. Ube that is your friends saying Caballero and the chima at Chelsea sadano. And not yes, and not tell the way at Chelsea Ababe do. Now Rhys James the only player make us say ene wait me as Ababe boy rim. It would team ni mu bioma ene so start here. Obetimi nya sa starting node. And I think say it shows the level at Chelsea etimi improve Ababe do ene. So ene Enzo Maresca will juma ye, especially against this Bayern Munich team. Tactically, I think say I wouldn't be surprised seeing the same structure, the same style of play Maresca call against Paris Saint-Germain. But the only difference is when they say ene Chelsea wouldn't be using that right side to attack Bayern Munich. They will use the left side. At the Inter America and say he will try to get Cucurella into those half spaces. Now ene Gittins player open against Bayern Munich 1v1 Utimi on Pine Gittins. Into ene so who say Gittins are starting man even though so Untimi hit the ground running for Chelsea. But some Bayern Munich against Gittins he's one of the brightest players against Bayern Munich. In Chelsea would attack with Cucurella and also Gittins.
Okay.
To make sure they will take advantage of that Bayern Munich right-hand side.
Defense. Chelsea team
yes, I think Osha said so maintaining that partnership there, it will be Tosin and Achaloba. But to me, against an attacking running team to say Bayern Munich and then so person or explore using Gittins and Cucurella, meaning say you need the person who will be occupying the left side SOAPC because against Olise and so take that step in any decision be obekono, and I think Chaloba would fit there, but Fafana on the right would be okay for me, but me nim see on my train nim how fit Fafana can be
so
to this
45
game.
minutes
Against that is Brentford. Yes,
yeah.
And I think say or the try say maybe you beat me because in this game you need a Chaloba Fafana with the pace Harry Kane, Gnabry, Olise, and then anyone wants to be Olise occupying that 10 row than that normal left wing role or bono and a normal right wing role or because a person explore Chelsea defense. So I want to see a Chaloba Fafana, but occur with Tosina, meaning say now Chelsea would have to now defend with 4. Which attacking wise a bit me Chelsea. So going into the game, 2 coaches brilliant coaches. But tactically, so I'm wanting us into game. And these are the one of the 2 young coaches or mobile. And I think the game will be exciting. I'm looking at both teams to score and also over 2.5. And I'm looking at Chelsea getting at least a draw in this game.
Okay, all right. Chelsea getting at least a draw. That was a game way. And you may and Yasam get to Accra. And watch along. You better turn am near the bra. Never will be. Never be to me koye na and koye papa. Eti me also made a mamuni. Olympiacos any pafos. Me also made a mamuni. Olympiacos any pafos. Pafos games goes back. Ne qualifying we now banning goes back into over 1.5. Over 1.5. Slava Pra and Bodo Glimt win. Ajax Amsterdam and Inter Milan. Inter Milan straight win, but she knows say early payout. Bayern Munich and Chelsea over 2.5. Paris Saint-Germain home win. And Liverpool Atletico Madrid over 1.5. All the I think 6 odds. Yeah, my member code, N1 N1BY MYBET.AFRICA.
Okay, list to me was 6 odds I'm day Emma Ashefo MYBET.AFRICA. Paris Saint-Germain and Atlanta. Paris Saint-Germain win or draw 1.5. Liverpool Atletico Madrid. Liverpool win or draw 1.5. Slava Praha any Bordeaux Glimt 1.5 ewo. And Ajax any Inter Milan Ajax to score. And Bayern Munich any Chelsea over 2.5. And yes 6 odds MYBET.AFRICA. Code no 8MBY 8MBY MYBET.AFRICA.
Yes, me daily chops for any UCL games, no. Yes, say any city. Me call for first game Olympiacos any Paphos game, no, over 1.5 goals in that game. Slavia Prague any Bodo Glimt over 1.5 goals in that game. Ajax Amsterdam any Inter Milan game, no, double chance for Inter Milan. Liverpool any Atletico Madrid. Liverpool double chance. Paris Saint-Germain and Atlanta straight win for a PSG and then Bayern Munich and Chelsea game no, over 8.5 corners in that game. Yes, so a order of 4.54 our my bet code no LMBY.
Okay, nti nyame adomo anwumre ye be hia na afi de aka ni nyina ye ne mu atumi ade abo what's that?
What's the location?
Ahojo 124. Ahojo 124, bro.
We share go
map. Do yeah, hacho. Kato koma be ya. Udu one man na obisa so.
And all your boats crowd the Ahojo 124.
How your boat now the Ahojo 124. Ahojo AHODWA. And ajo Ahojo O and a last we need O. Yeah. Now the 1-24 as a car registration number no
say omo de trust isu beba no udru ha total wana cars na kwa boko bi na agbogba ho ofa just 2 minutes ride no aka so be so ma bay we see o ma bay taxi rank na answer left mfut come da order off so straight we be hu say oh we be na speakers na na money bi air course now so we be join ye be Chelsea ni Bayern Munich match no yes
nyame adom na adom ya be hia anwumre we yakram